many of you were able to go through the assignment? Or you are still in the holiday and the Valentine mode? Hello? Popolampo, you are still what in the Valentine mode? Hey, Apple, Emmanuel, Andy, were you able to look at the assignment? AJ, Joe, Nanaba, Augustine, Knight, Elom, Frank. How many of you were able to work on the assignment? Okay, good. Apple said he did. And who else? I'm sure Frank and Knight are still not, I'm sure they are not even on campus as we speak. Anyway, so let's continue. So I would share my screen and I'll share what we plan to do. Then we would proceed. So let me pull up the assignment first. Sorry, let me share my screen and then pull up the assignment. Yes, can my screen be seen? All right. Can you see my screen though?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. So let me just go to where we are today. Yeah, we're going to work on the assignment. I was planning on us doing some plotting as well today. So we'll quickly go through the assignment and we look at how to, perform plotting, visualization, data visualization in Python. So um first off, let me just pull this up. Okay. Then give me a moment. A moment, a moment. I had to restart my PC to get everything working. So everything I had put out there has been, restarted. So I have to start the whole process again. Give me a moment. Sorry about the delay. We are 40 minutes into the class and I haven't started. Yes, let me quickly get the assignment and all right. So I can see that Emmanuel, you said you tried, but it wasn't enough. What was your challenge? You can speak. Just share your challenge, Emmanuel.
Uh, Hello. It was
Yeah, I can hear you. Yep.
the for looping.
The for looping, eh?
Yeah.
So what do you find like tough about it?
I think I haven't fully understood it, so I'm trying to start the assignment again and then get it.
Okay. Any other challenge that we are having? This class is to help you, gain some knowledge after the class. I don't want you to go through it and you can't do certain things by yourself because some of the basics in programming is at least you should know how to run a for loop and if statements and all those things. At least the basic ones, perform a function, what you create a function that can perform certain, um, tasks for you as well. So if you're unable to do this after the class, I wouldn't have achieved my aim. That's the most important thing. So anyone else have like having any challenge in terms of, is the if statement, sorry, the for loop and all that's still a challenge for most of the class? If it's a challenge for you, you just lift your hand in the chat or something. Give me a high five in the chat or something, so I can see the number of people out of everyone else that is having challenge. I'll take my time and see if I can go through it briefly again before we work on the assignments. The main aim of this course is to have you have something like at least, so after the course you can say, oh, I did Python and I can do this and that in Python. So even before we go into plotting today, let me just share the screen again, and then we'll quickly go into this. All right. Can my screen be seen? Okay. So now let's run our Jupyter notebooks. We go to the command prompt. Take my time and then go through the for loop again this time around. So we can get, but I'm sure, Emmanuel, I'm sure with regards to the, what do you call it, the if statement and all that, you have it, right?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay. Okay. If you have that sorted, then I don't have a problem. Let me quickly get, the other one has too many tabs. Sorry, I have too many things open. Let me quickly, yeah, this one. I drag this. There. All right. So I will go through the if statement and explain it again because it's very important. Sorry, the for loop, so you understand. Because if you're not able to use the for loop, then you're in big trouble. Python is because to automate and to do, you mostly have to be using the loops. We have not even talked about the while loop. I'll talk about that one as well today, and then we'll look at something before we try the assignment. Right. So we create a new file. Then let's call it what name should we give it? Let's call it for loop review or something. So I'll take my time and go through it so you understand what a for loop does. So let me call this um, for loop review. All right. So now I'm going to take my time. Let's first of all define, say, an array. It could be a list. Let's just go with a list. So let's say our first list. First list, right? Are the fonts large enough? Can you see the screen? Should I increase the fonts? Can I be heard?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so can you see the fonts?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. All right. So then what we are going to do now is we have this, okay. But what we want to do is we want to pick the values one by one. Okay. So on a very good day, what would have happened is we would have had to do this. If we want to pick the first one, we will do this. We run this command, which is that, to pick the first one, right? Want to pick the second one, okay? We would have had to run this command to pick the second one. Third one, similarly, that's how you are going to go about it, okay? So with this in mind, right? Now, we don't want to be doing this one by one in that order, okay? So what we want to do now is we will create a for loop, okay? So for, we can call it maybe integers or something, or numbers. For numbers, for number, okay, I think it's 1, so for number in first list, okay, print number. Okay, now let me explain this. So you see what is happening. It prints 1, just like we have 1 here. Then the next one it prints is 3, just like we have 3 here. So it goes through this list and prints them one by one. So now what is happening is this, when you choose the first one, 0 here, it represents this. Okay, so at any point in time, right, this is similar to doing this. Now that we understand this, let me just make it a bit more clearer here. So now we define a certain variable called number, okay? And we say number is equal to this, okay? If it's not clear, you draw my attention. So I explain further, okay? So now what I'm doing now is I've assigned this to number, okay? So when I run this, what do I get? I'm printing the first one. What do I get? It's going to print out 1 for me. Now, I go again. I want to do this for all of them. And I come back again, this same one. But now the second time, okay, I assign the second variable, sorry, the second element in the list to print, to number, and I print. What happens? I get 3. So this is the same as this, okay? But what I'm doing now is I am assigning this to a variable, number, and then I print number, okay? Now, because I want to do it for all of them, okay, I go to the second one and now assign this to number. So what happens is that now this new number, okay, the element within this new number is replaced by this now, because the first one was this, okay? And I said print it. So now what I'm doing is I'm just saying that replace what is inside number with this. Then if I go again and I try the third one, all right, what is going to happen is, pay close attention to this. If I say, let me do something here so you understand. If I run number, right, what will I get? I'm going to get 3, because right now 3 is what is saved within Python for number. Now, if I do this, what I'm saying now is I'm saying that replace this 3, which is inside number, with the value that is at the third position within our list. So element 3 of our first list should replace that number, right? So what happens is if I run this, you will notice that I get 5. If I go back and I run number, what is going to happen? Number becomes 5. So what is happening is anytime I treat, it replaces what is already existing. Is this clear up until this point?
Yeah, very clear.
Okay, any challenges now at this point? Before I keep going, I want to explain the list so you understand. If you have any challenge, kindly post it in the chat so I can see. Sorry, write it in the chat. Okay, So now what is happening is we've noticed that we want to do this, run through this one by one. But if we want to get it, we have to assign it doing the array slicing or list using the list comprehension this way, all the way. So now we assign this list comprehension values, these values to number. Okay, you do that. And what I want you to understand is anytime we assign a new value, okay, to number, it replaces the old one. That is why before, when we were doing something in class, I told you that it's always good to bring in new, what do you call it, new variables, so you can save your previous ones. Because if you don't create new variables and use the previous ones, what is going to happen is the new values would overwrite the old ones. And if you want the old ones, you can't get them anymore. So that's exactly what is happening here. Before, we initialize number to take on the first element in first list. And that's what it did. And it gave us 1. Now subsequently we initialize it to the second element. So what happens is that now this value here replaces 1. So now number becomes 3. And when we go here and we replace it, number becomes 5. So that is what's happening. The number keeps changing whilst we are replacing all the way. So that is basically what this for loop is doing. So what it is saying is that pick the first element here and assign it to number. This is the first one here. So it will be 1. And now print that number. This is what we have here. Same thing, nothing has changed. But here, if you want to do, you have to do it one by one. And we don't have time to go through all the elements. For example, if you have 100 elements, you have to write this 100 times, which is not ideally good. So then now what the for loop does is, what is doing now is it is picking from the start, it picks the first element in here. Okay, let me just bring this here so we can see what I'm trying to do. Okay, so what it's doing now is similar to what we did here, okay, where we assign the first element to number. That's exactly what it is doing, okay? So it assigns the first element to number. Or let me do this to make it more easier to understand. Let me use another approach for the for loop. Okay, so now we want to look through these numbers, okay? 1, 3, 5, all the way here. We know we have how many elements? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 elements, okay? So let's say 4, okay? I in range 7, right? 7. Okay, maybe this would help you understand. We say number is equal to into bracket I. Okay, so you see what is happening here. Now we are saying that we want to look through all of this, okay? And the number of elements here are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay? So we are telling Python that I want to look through all the way to 7, okay? So what would happen is that now it is going to pick, I will represent each number within the range, okay? Where this range is going to be, represent the indices of this array. So what it's going to do now is, I would take the first index, which is 0, index, sorry, and then put it here, and put the 0 here because I is representing that number. Okay, so that's why we put I here. Okay, so this is similar to the first one we are doing here. So when the index is equal to 0, this is what you are going to have here. So when I run this, see what is going to happen. Oh, I didn't print, sorry. Print number. Okay, let me run this. You see what is happening? It's doing the same thing. So I think maybe this one will make it clearer. But the reason why I don't go these ways, this is too long. This is a much simpler and shorter way to go about it. But this is what was the initial way of doing it, but things have changed over time. So you see what is happening here. This is what we have here. Okay. But we are creating a range of numbers. So this range command creates a range of numbers. Okay. So if you want to see how the range of numbers are created, let me do this for you to see. Let's start with just a simple one. I want to try as much as I can to make sure that each and every one of us understand what is going on. Okay. So we have this, and then we print I. Sorry, I. What do we think would give us, what would be the output? Just a quick one. What do you think the output would be? Put your answer in the chat. What do you think the output would be? I'm waiting. Can I be heard? Good. I want to see the output. Yes. Okay, 7. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. Yes. Okay, good. Oh, good. So now what we are going to do is, let's run this so you see how it works. It will give you an understanding of how Python picks the I. I would have loved to have more responses. 1 up to 7. Good, 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 good. So I like the responses. So how do we verify if our responses are correct? We run the code, right? Good. Let's try that. So what happens now is I run this code. Okay. You see what is happening? It is giving us from 0 to 6. And like I said, Python starts counting from 0. But that's not the counting numbers we know. That is why I said that whatever we do n-1 in Python. So if you are working with an element that has, a list that has 7 elements, for Python, you are going to go from 0 to 6 instead of 1 to 7. So that is the only difference. Okay. So Python is just, this one gives us a range of numbers up to 7. Okay. So 0, 1, all the way to 7. Good. And now we know that the indices, okay, of these elements start from 0 to what? 6. Just as we have here. All right. So what do? We assign this value, that's the range that is within this range, okay, to the list comprehension. And what it does is that it prints out the values within the list for us, these values for us. So you notice that the first element here, which has index 0, right, is 1. So it prints out 1. Then it goes to the next one, index 1, it prints out 3. You see, index 5 in that order. So what it's doing is that it is printing out based on the range we give it. If we give it a range of 3, it is going to print only the first 3 numbers. Okay, have a look at that. It gives us only the first 3 numbers. If we want a range of 4, it will give us only the first 4 numbers. Because what is happening is, if I run this here, okay, it is only 0 to 3. So it is going to put 0 first, print 1, print 2, print 3, print, and it ends at 4. As simple as that. So you see how it works. So that is how the for loop works. So it is based on a certain understanding. So usually this is what they call list comprehension and stuff like that. There are some other things that you know more about list comprehension, but this is like the basic form that I want you to understand. Okay, so we have this indexing and all that. Okay, now you want to go 5 times, you can print all the way to 5. All right. So this is basically what the range does. And even the range, you can choose your starting point and your ending point. So if you want to print from 2 to 8, okay, this has what, and like I said, the starting point is always the correct value, but the ending, you always have to add an extra 1 in Python. So here we have 0, 1, 2, and 3. So what I do is I can run 3, to 7, right? And I print. You see what it does? Oh, 3 to 7, not 3 to 5. 3 to 7. So it is picking from this point to that point. So if I wanted to see only 3, if I put this here, right? I run this. You see what happens? It picks the last elements. This is what I highlighted. You see, it picks 2, 7. So it starts from 2, 7, 8, 9, all the way that. So this range only creates a range of numbers for you. And these numbers can be used as the indices for getting the elements within the list. Okay, so that is basically what the for loop does. The for loop just iterates and it goes sequentially. Okay, so it goes from starting wherever you want it to start. It starts from there till where you want it to end. Okay, so in some cases, before, what we used to do, if you want everything in here and you don't know because we know the length here at 7, right? It is easier for us to just put 7 here. But what if you are working with a list and you don't know the number of elements within the list? Okay, so what you do is, the best practice is to put, instead of choosing a certain value, and let me copy the whole thing. Instead of choosing a certain value, right, for this, you can tell it that put the length of this list. Okay, so that way you don't make any mistakes. So what is the length of this list? Let's run a quick code to see what we get. For length of this list, right? Let's run this. It tells us it's 7. So in cases where you don't know the length of the list, or the list is too long for you to count, you just put length. This gives you the length of your array. This is the command for length, right? Length that, and boom. When you do it here, it gives you the results you are looking for. Same one, like this. So because we don't want to have this, run this line, we make it shorter. And we, instead of putting range and all these things here, we say assign each element within this list to a variable called number, and then print that number. That's all. So what we do now is, we have skipped this line and we have reduced this. So what this is going to do is that it will go into first list. Okay, let me put first list here. So we get the understanding of how the for loop works. It's very important to understand how the for loop works. So you see what is happening here now is, it will go into first list and assign the first element to number. So now this number variable holds the first element here as a value. Okay. So what is going to happen is, now if you start the iteration, the first iteration, the first number here will pick 1. So you can now perform arithmetic operations. If you don't want to print it, you can even use it to do a multiplication. Maybe you want to find out if this number is greater than or less than 1 or something. You can still do it. So now what you can do is, you can even bring an if statement to compare, right? The first iteration, number holds the first element. Second, so once this iteration is done, so what is happening is that what the for loop does is, once it enters and picks the first, once it executes this task, there could be several lines. Once all those lines are executed, it will come back, because now it has finished with the first one. Then now it goes in there again and picks the second one. Okay, perform all the the functions or the tasks underneath the for loop. Then comes back again, picks the next one, performs the same thing over and over and over again. So what we can do, an example would be, let's say we want to add 3333 to all these numbers. Maybe we want to increase it by 3. What do? We would say that, let's call it increment. Okay, a new increment. We say now whatever value is within number, right? Let's add 3 to it. and let's print increment. I just want you to see something. So what is going to happen is, for this for loop, it would go in here first, pick the first element, and the first element here is what? 1, okay? Then it would come here. Now we come to this line. This line says that whatever value is in 1, add 3 to it. So what is going to happen is that it will add 3 to the first number, which is what? 1. Then it will print this, okay? Then it will go back, okay? Then it will pick the second number, the second element here, okay, and assign it as a value to this variable number, okay? The number plus 3, we already have 3 here, so with 3 plus 3, and we are going, the next thing is going to print increment is going to be what? 6. 5 plus 3 will be 8, all the way down, okay? So see what happens when I run this. You see, it added 3 to 1, we have 4. Then it moves to the next one. 3 to 3, we have 6. 3 to 5, we have 8. 3 to 2, we have 5, in that order, all the way there. So what for loop does is that because of this, what do you call it, indentation, right? Anything that falls under the for loop will be executed. So you can have as many lines as you want. They would all be executed one at a time. Then it will come back again, start the process again, all the way throughout this process. So this is what the for loop basically does. Is it clear to this point, or are there any misunderstanding? Feel free if you have any challenges. If you understand, you can say yes. If you don't, you can say no, and then share what you don't. Okay, Emmanuel says it's clear. Good.
Yeah, it's clear.
Very good, very good, very good, very good, very good. So this is what the for loop does. Now, in certain cases, you want to make comparison, okay? You can add the if statement to it and make that comparison. So that is where we did the school class thingy. So let me just do that once more so we can appreciate what the for loop does. Okay, so now this is what we do. We said class 3B students. Something like this. It's just a name. Don't worry about it. And then we give it a dictionary because we wanted to have the names and their scores. So dictionary comes with key and values, like I mentioned, not like a list. So we have the first name, we can say John. Then we give it a score, 35. We have Samuel, and his score is what? 90. We have Agnes, and her score is what? 82. Like in that order, we can have as many as we want, but this is just an example. So we can say student scores. Just so it makes sense. This name, like the variable name is important. It helps you understand the kind of data that is within what you are working with. It. So we call this that, okay? And now what we want to do is we want to check if the student has passed or failed, okay? So what we want to do first is loop through, first of all, make sure that our code is working. So we want to check if the names are correct, okay? So what we do now is we can say for, you can call it names, you can call it students, you can call it whatever you want, or first names, last names, depending on what you want. You can say students in this, okay? What is going to print student? So what do you think is going to print out for me? I want to see it in the chat. We are doing this together. So now I want to know, based on the understanding we have from here, okay, when we can print I, it prints the numbers for us. What do you think is going to be printed here? Who can help me with this? The names, yes, 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 yes. It's going to print the names of all the students for us. Okay, good, good. So now what it does is, yes, 9 is John, Samuel, Agnes, exactly. So that is what it's going to print for us. John, Samuel, Agnes. Good. So now you understand how the for loop works. But in this case, you want to compare their marks with a certain value and then say they have passed or failed. So if you have below 50, you have failed. If you have above 50, you have passed. Okay. So now what we do is we introduce another line. Okay. And say that if let me bring this to the next line. If students, okay, sorry, let me bring this. If this value,
Try and see.
okay, so what this is going to do is it's going to bring out the score of the students. Okay, I'll explain this later briefly. So if it's greater than 50, it's greater than 14, or it's less than 50, yes, let me do it less than 50. What you do is what? You print right, else, which means we are only doing two, so greater than or less, greater than or less than. So that's it. So if it's 50 or above, print passed. If it's below 50, print failed. So we go to else, right? Print student failed. Sorry, passed. Sorry. All right. So what we do now is when we run this, this is going to churn out John has failed, Samuel has passed, Agnes has passed. Okay. So I'm going to explain how this is also working. So we get the analogy. So I'll go back here. Pupulampo, yes, your hand is up.
Yeah, I wanted to ask the if you just write if a student less than is on 50, is it going to work?
So what you do is if you write student, okay, let's do it here for you to see. Student now is not this
The variable
value.
name.
Student is only the variable name because that is the key here. So you can't compare John to 50. What is going to happen is you are going to get an error. Okay, because what it's comparing now is it's comparing a string to an integer. Okay, so that's what it says here. See, not supported between the string and integer. So you can't compare a string to an integer. That is why. That's why I'm saying I will explain this further so you understand.
Okay.
You understand why we did it this way. So for this dictionary, if you want 35, okay, right, what you do is you call this here and then assign it the key. This is the key. In some cases, John can even have a dictionary inside here. John, the name John, now you can have age, value, whatever, so many things for John. In case you have a user profile, okay, one name can also have another dictionary. So the value of this key would be another dictionary, which I will do later. I will show you later. Because we want the information here, right? It is the key that you use to pick this information. So now what this is doing is this is similar to having a variable and what is inside the variable. It's not the same thing, but it's similar. So inside John is 35. Okay. So if I want 35, if I go this way and I put 0 here, I am going to get an error because it doesn't understand 0, which is the index. What it knows is if you want what is inside John, use the key. So now if I bring this key here, what does it do? It gives me John's value. Okay. Similarly, if I do the same for Agnes, it is going to, sorry, Samuel, it is going to give me the same thing. Okay. You run this, same thing. You understand? It is giving me these values, 35, 90, and all that. You see how it does? It is doing that. So we already know that if you want to loop, you use the for loop. So now students now becomes, that's what we did here. So now students is the keys within this dictionary. Student is these keys. That is why it printed it, John, Samuel, and Agnes for us. Yes, Ninth, your hand is up.
I wanted to ask, is there any other instance where you use the key to access the numbers, or is the only case, it only happens when you're using a dictionary?
Yes, yes, when you're using a dictionary. That is the reason for the dictionary in the first place. So you can have assigned keys. You see, if you are working with a list and tuples and all those ones, what you do is you work with the index. So imagine if you want a certain information, you don't know the index. It becomes challenging. But for a dictionary, as long as you know the name, irrespective of where the name is, if the name is in the 100th position, the 1000th position, or whatever, as long as the key is there, you get the values within it. You understand? So it's like going to retrieve from maybe a savings box. Once you have the key to that box, you can always access it. It's as simple as that. Okay. So we use the keys to access the information in here, right? Ninth, is that clear? Ninth.
Yes, clear. Thank you.
Okay, awesome, awesome. So we know that if we run this, okay, this simple one, students is picking what? The keys for us, right? And we know that if you assign the key to this, right, what happens? It gives you the score. So now we've put all together. We are looping through this. It gives us the student. So the student is the key, which we have here. And instead of writing John Samuel one by one, we put this student, which is the keys here, like this. And now this here is no longer a string. This now becomes these values that we are seeing here. So now these values are what you compare to 50, and then you run this. Okay? So that's how the dictionary works. So like I'm saying, for example, we can have another one. Let's say, give me a moment, class 2D students. Okay, so let's see this dictionary. Within this dictionary, we can have another dictionary. And this is how we do it. So we start with the first name. Let's say the name is what? John, right? Why do we start with John anyway? I don't know. Now you can have another dictionary, okay, which now has John's age. Oh, age, like that. 35, okay. Maybe occupation or something, right? It's another string, which we can say maybe is a teacher. Okay. Where John stays, so you can say
Benji.
abode. You can use anything. Let's use let's say abode. John's abode is at Beijing. You understand? And you can have this again for another. And that could be Mary. And if you don't have all the information about Mary, you can just put 35, or maybe 32, because that's the age. That's all you know. You get it? And when you save this is just a simple example. Okay. You have this. Now see what happens when I call John. Within this list. You see, it gives me the dictionary. So now if I want John's age, bring an extra line here, and it will easily get me John's age. You get it? So it's like you are stepping within another dictionary to get it. So if this dictionary was alone, you would have used age to get this number. But because it is a dictionary within a dictionary, this will churn out the first dictionary, and then this second one will go in and pick the number for you. All right, so this is how the dictionary works, okay, basically. So what we just did was, instead of working through them, individually, Pupulampo, hand this up.
Yeah, I wanted to ask if you want to like pick out John's age and uh, John's abode. Are you going to add another bracket?
Yes, you add another bracket. You don't need to add, so you have to create a different one. Okay. Abode. Okay. However, if you want all of John's information, okay, what do? I want you to use a for loop. Okay. Let me do something here.
No, I
So
mean,
that
you want to pick only the age and the abode to come as one.
yes. So that's what I want you to do for me. Based on your understanding. Okay. How do you do it? Based on your understanding. Don't worry if it is wrong, all right? What if you think it's wrong? It doesn't matter. Let's just try it. So what I want to do is, this is a question posed by Upolampo. So he says, for example, he wants to pick only John's age and John's abode from this dictionary. How would he go about it? Who can help me in the chat? So work on this. Let's do this together before we step into the assignment. I want to finish the assignment today so that tomorrow we can start plotting graphs and stuff like that. But I need you to really understand how these things work, because it's very important. You're going to use this in plotting and all that. For loop and if statements are indispensable in programming. So it's very important you understand them. All right. So now in this case, we want to pick only age and abode. How do we do that? For John, how do we do that? How do we do that? Anybody? I'm waiting in the chat. Who can help me? Pupulampu, you can also give it a shot.
Okay, I'm trying.
Good. So I'll give you like some 5 minutes. And let's see. Okay, Pupulampu. Okay. Who else? So the question is, I want to pick John's age, year, and his abode. Okay. So this is what Polampo said. Yeah, so Apple, who else can help me? This is Polampo's answer, but I want another answer before I run this. Unless we all agree that this is the right way to go about it. Okay, so let me run this. No, let me give you 2 more minutes for more answers. 2 more minutes. The number of us in the class, I think there are about 28 of us here. So I want to say at least 10 or 15 people sharing the answers here so that I know half of the class is with me. Okay. Any answer at all? Like, what do you think would be the answer if I want to get the age and then the abode of John? How do I go about it? Okay. There is another answer from Popolampo. All right, so let me run this and see. Not working. You can't do it this way. Yep, it's not going to work. Yeah, the way you guys enjoy, using shortcut, just adding, keys to values and, just it doesn't work like that. Programming, you need to find ways and means to get the results you are looking for. So this is what we got. This is not what you are looking for, John. What do you call it? Popolampo. So let's keep trying. Okay, let's see what happens with this. So what this is saying is that it means that age is another dictionary which has a key abode in it, but age is not a dictionary. So this is like the first one steps into the first dictionary, the second one steps into the second dictionary. So that's what is working here, right? So you could run the second dictionary this way to make it clearer for everybody else. Usually, this is how you see it in most programming languages, especially those who work with JSON files. Usually, you see it like this. This is how they show it. Okay, but this is basically you can put all of this together and have just one long list. It's still the same thing, but this makes it clearer. So what is happening here is the first one steps into the first dictionary. Okay, the first hierarchy. And then the second one steps into the second hierarchy. Yeah. Right. So what you do now is for something like this, you have to use a for loop. Okay. A for loop within a for loop. Okay. So let's start briefly. So the first thing we do is we create a for loop. Polampo, your hand is up.
Yeah, the second answer I gave, I don't know why it gave the key for the age, but for the abode, it gave the value for the age like that when I wrote the age, but the second one, the abode, it just repeated abode.
Yes. So these are some of the things. Programming language there, what do you call it? There are several rules, and that is why every time there's an update to make things better. So whilst you're using a certain version, you might not be able to do certain things, but it shouldn't stop you from doing what you want to do. So what you have to do is you have to find ways and means, okay, to circumvent that problem. Like I said, when we started programming, okay, you couldn't do this. students in. No, you couldn't do this. That was back in the 2014s and 15s, right? What you could do is this. You have to create a range of numbers and then use that numbers to look through to get what you want. But over time, they realized that this is too long. So they decided to bring in this other approach where you can just step in and then you are going. You get it? So as time goes on, they will bring better ones. Even when I started programming, you could not do this. Okay? And this, you could not do this because this is not right. Then the syntax was wrong. But things keep changing. That's why I keep saying that you have to always update yourself on the way things are done. That's why I say there is no one way of doing it. But as it stands now, all these approaches would not give us the answer. So you have to write a for loop, okay? And the first for loop, what does it do? It iterates over these two, okay? So for students, right, what would you do? It iterates within this. So what do you think would be the answer if I should print name here in this case? What do you think would be the answer? This is the dictionary. Yes, John. You said John Apple. Yes, but there's one more. John and Mary. Yes, yes. So it's going to print John and Mary for you. Okay. So because these are the people within the names within them. Good. So now what we want to do is John as a key. Okay, has a dictionary within it, like we did here, like I showed you here. Okay, let me just do it here. Okay, so John as a key has a dictionary within it, right? So this is another dictionary. So when if we want age, we have to step inside John. Okay, so now what we do is we create another for loop. Okay, this one is just giving us the first step, the first part. So now we go in here. Okay, so let me pick this. So what you want to do is, you want to create another for loop to loop through John's details. So you can say for detail, okay, or you can say info, whatever you want. Info in this, right? Because this is all this information, right? What is going to print? What is going to print out for me? What will be the printout? For info in class, this. But don't forget, it is not class students, but it is class student with John in it. So it's focused on only this. What do you think the results will be? Info of John. Yes, I know it's info of John, but I want to know what exactly would print out. Good. Age 35. Okay, exactly. So what is going to print out is it's going to print out the keys, not all the values, not the dictionary that you are showing up. So it's going to print age, occupation, teacher, and occupation and abode. So let's see what happens. Oh, sorry, I made it empty. Sorry, guys. So let me put it in here, and I run this. So you see what it's doing? Similar to what this one did, right? It picked only the keys. Okay, it picked only the keys, which is John and Mary. So when I step in here, it's similarly going to pick only the keys. Sorry, occupation and abode for me. Okay. So you see what it's doing now. Now I can put this under this, merge these two, so that I can have it doing this work for me, for both of them. Okay. So I bring this function here, drop it here. I bring this next command here, and I put it here. But what I do now is name would replace this. Name would replace, sorry, this, because name is what we are looking. Name is the key. So when we run this, we are going to have the repetition of both Mary and John. Okay. So what we can do is let's do something here. Let's print name. And we print their information. So this is what is going to happen. So it prints John, and then it gives you John's age, occupation, and abode. Mary's age, occupation, and abode. Okay. Now we want only the values for age and what abode. So all you do is you can define a function and say age is equal to what? This info. Age is equal to this to bracket info. No. Let me do it this way. We want age and so name, and then we just put age here. Like that. I'm trying to figure out how we can do this. Yes. And let's see abode. So if that is the case, I don't think we even need this info here. We don't need it. We don't need it. Based on what I'm looking at, it would be redundant to have that for loop. Then you just put this, and the same thing here. You write abode. Okay. Then we can create a list, right? And say list of details. So let's just do it like that. Then what we do is we append this information to the list. Okay. So we can do it this way and say list details here. We did append yesterday for it Monday. So if you don't understand, you can let me know and I'll go over it briefly again. So now I append age and abode in here. Voila. So now if I run this, I should get a very interesting results. So what is happening? You see? So it gives me the age and abode for John and the age and abode for what do you call it? The Mary. So this is how you go about programming. You might not have a direct way of doing things, but based on your understanding of the existing procedures, right, you have to put together your thoughts and achieve something. So this is basically what programming is mostly about. It's all about your imagination, bending the rules to achieve what you want to get. So like I said, if you're a bricklayer and you only have square bricks, okay, and you get to a point where you have 3 places joining together, would you say because you have square bricks, you won't put anything together? No, you would measure and start chopping some of the bricks away to have something like a triangle or a smaller brick to fit into smaller corners. So that is what you do. Just play around with the rules and the laws, and then you get what you want. So this is how you would go about it. I hope this is clear at this point, to this point. Popolampo, your hand is up, yes.
Yeah, it's clear. So I want to say now, this one has given us for John and Mary. So if
Yes.
you want to give us for only John, two information about John, the 35 and Benjin, then it means that you
Okay.
need to put a bracket in front of the class 2D student and put John there.
Yes, exactly. Very good. Very good, Popolampo. You get it now. So this is what you do, right? The same thing, right? So now you put John here. Let me copy it. So you put John here. That's it. So you don't even need to look because you want for only John, okay? And you want to put them in an array. So you just do it this way, and you are good to go. There's an extra, yeah. Oh, okay. You understand? So now if you go into list details and you run it, you're going to get it for only John. All right. So this is how you play around. You might not get exactly what you are looking for, but your understanding of the law should give you what you are looking for. So this is what basically programmers are doing all the time. They play around with the rules on the modules and all that available to them to achieve something. Okay. So I hope it is clear to this point, so we can work on the assignment. Is it clear? Any questions? If you don't have any, sure.
Mr. Johnson, please, I have a question.
Sure, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I hope I'm not getting ahead of myself, but this stuff we are learning, like I personally want to apply them in real actual situations, right? So let's say I have maybe a data from my Excel file or data from my research work, and I want to use the Python to dress it up. Do I have to copy the data and put in Jupyter and use the programming line to dress it up?
When we start plotting, right, I will show you how to load data from data files.
Oh, okay.
So you just load the data. You don't have to copy and paste. No. Once this notebook and that data is in the same folder, you just call the data. Even if it's not in the same folder, you just show the path to where the data file is, and then it would open it. It will load the data for you. So we'll look at how to work with those ones. Load data, write data. For example, working in when you are done, right? You want to save your results in an Excel sheet. You should be able to do it.
Yeah. Oh,
You
okay,
understand? Okay. So those ones, we would look at all of them. That's the idea, right?
Okay, so I'm guessing that will be next week. Oh.
Yes. And even with the plotting that we'll be doing,
yeah.
If you finish plotting, you want to save your graph, you can still save it. We'll do all of that.
Right. Okay, thank you.
So for now, I just want you to understand how these things work, and then we'll look at that. I was hoping we could do more. I think when we get to that point, you guys should have enough arsenal in your inventory to attack some of the problems that you face. Anyway.
Yeah.
Good. So this is an example of a real life situation. You understand? But this is not saved as a file. So we'll look at that as well. So how you load file, write, read, and all those things. We'll look at that. So don't worry about that. All right. So we have this. I think we did the maximum and the minimum and all those things. Yes. So we ended up at yes. Let's write a function. Now we are going to be writing functions here. We ended here, the hot day. So find the warmest day using loops. I think we did that. We did that on. Did we or did we not do it? Can we refresh my memory? Did we do it? Where did we end last time? I don't remember. Okay, let's create a new file for that one. So I would go back to home, and then we create a new file. So let's first of all end this, shut this down, and then we create a new file so we can We can close this now because we are done with this. Now we create a new file. We quickly work through this for today, and then tomorrow you start plotting, you load data and all those things. All right, so let's call this assignment 3, part 2. All right, so we have the assignment here. We did this, so we start from here. So this is a function. Sorry, LaTeX actually sees underscore as a subscript. That is why you see it this way. So next time I did it for all of these ones, but I forgot to change it for this one. So it is saying we should create a function called count above threshold, and it takes a row and a threshold, okay? So it says write a function that takes one row, a one-dimensional NumPy array, and the threshold value, and returns how many values in that row are strictly greater than the threshold, okay? So an example is if you say print this, right? It should return 3 for you. Good. So let's hop right into it. Let's first of all create our, no, I think I can't copy all of them. So let me just copy this part. This is the part that I need anyway. All right. All right. Let's do this. So we have data. Let's first of all import NumPy. Because if we don't import it, we can't use it. NumPy as NP. Then we say data is equal to np.array into bracket. So let me just put the opening bracket, opening square bracket, the closing square bracket, and then I dump everything else here. I just have to push these ones in there to make them look okay. Yep. So there's nothing like day 0. So this is day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, and day 5. All right, this one should have the opening braces as well. Good. We have our data this way. Okay, now that we have this, let's copy the question and see how we can solve the question. So the question says, right, I'll copy all of this. So you can see how you can add, you can add documentation. So what you do is, because you don't want to execute this, you come here and they change to markdown. Okay, so the number of hash you bring will determine how large it's going to be. So if I bring 3 hash, it's going to be very large. If I bring 2, it will reduce the size. So if you increase it, it's going to increase the number, the size for you. All right, so we have this, okay? And so here we want, this is the function that we are looking at because it's the same thing here, right? So we can just push these ones in there like that. Yeah, something like this. Then we run this. So you see, it writes this nicely for us. Oh, there should have been another line here. Anyway, let's not focus on the formatting. Waste our time. So what we do now is we have only 35 minutes. Let's jump right into it. So the name of the function that they're asking us to create is what? This. Okay. So we first define the function. Okay. And then inside we can just write a function that we don't want to. You know how to write the the descriptive information. We won't focus on that now. So what it wants you to do is it has to pick a row and a threshold Then it brings out the maximum, okay, threshold. So, okay, so now for, okay, let's say for values in row, which is this row that we are going to assign, right? If value is greater than, what's the function again? Say, so if you pick a threshold, okay, that's how many rows, values in that. Okay. What we will do now is let's assign a number. Let's say count, and we say count is equal to 0 because we want to find out the number of values that are greater than 25. Okay. So for example, how many, like we did earlier on, it will count. Okay. So we say if value is greater than what? Threshold, because we are using a threshold. This is the value we are using. Right? Okay. Then what does it return? It returns, return count. Very simple. So what is this doing? This will take a row, which is a list, and it will take a threshold value, which is a fixed value. Okay, so remember we did something, we said greater than 24, it's hot, all those things. Okay, so now this is doing something similar, but with this, we don't have a fixed value. You can choose any value you want, and then you pick the row. Okay, so what happens is, now we define this function. Okay, let's test it and see if it works. So the example they give us is print this. So let's copy their example and run it. This is the example. Okay, and when we run it, what do we get? Not value, sorry, values. Values. So let me run this, and let me run this again. What will happen is that if you look at the values that I have here, right, and I run this, you notice this is the results I'm going to get, 3, which is what they. Okay, so with this, right, let's look at a question. All right, please don't get the question and what we are supposed to. Can you explain? Okay, so look at the question again. Let's go back to the question. Let me increase the font size. Good. So you understand what the question is saying. So the question says, write a function that takes one row. Okay. So it will take a row, which is a list, because row has several values. Okay. And a threshold value. Okay. And returns how many values in that row are strictly greater than the threshold. An example here is what we did here. Okay. We did it last time. We did greater than or equal to 24. And we noticed that we had 1 afternoon, 2 afternoon, da 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 da. So we check here. Okay. Right? We pick the first one and see which one is greater than 24 degrees. When we did it, there was no greater than 24 here. So it was 0. there was how many greater than here? I think there was none here as well. There was one, which is this one. And then there was none here. We did that last week. Okay, I can open that. Let me open that for you. So what you are doing is you are looping through, this is a rule. So you are looping through this rule to find out if a value is greater than, if there's a value that is greater than a certain threshold value. Okay. So for example, the example here is, in this case, you want to check if there is a value here that is greater than or equal to 24. Okay, so that's what we did here. Greater than or equal to 24. So we noticed that there is 24.0 here, so there will be 1 here. What we did was greater than, yes, but this is greater than or equal to. We noticed that here, there is another one here, 24.5. So it's just telling you that there is 1, there is 2, there is da 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 da. Is it clear now? So this is doing the same thing. Yeah. Good. So now what we are trying to do is, with the function, okay, we give it the rule. And what is the rule? We pick this. So let me show you here for you to see. This is the rule. Okay, and we want to check if there are some numbers in there that are greater than 25. So this is the same thing as doing this. Same thing as doing this. Let me show you. But we just give it a function. We just converted it to a function. It's the same thing. This is the same thing we are doing here, right? You run this. Threshold is not defined, sorry. Our threshold we used was 25. Yes. The same thing we are doing here. Let me just print count. Sorry, print count. Okay, let me run this. You see, this is the same thing. We just put this inside a function. Okay. What a function does is that because we want to be able to change these values. So for example, if I want to do this for all the lines, right? What do? I have to keep changing this, changing this, changing this, changing this. Okay. What if I change my mind? Maybe today I want to check for the fourth day. Tomorrow I want to check for the third day. Do I have to come inside there and be changing this all the time? Or I want to change the threshold from 25 to 26 or maybe to 21. Do I have to be doing this all the time? No. So what you do is you just create a function so you don't have to keep repeatedly doing this, okay? So what we did here is just put this inside a function. And voila, you have this. So this is the same as this, okay? So what is happening is, what value did you put at threshold? 25. So now here is, you see threshold, but it is 25 that is we put here, okay? Now, what did we put here? We put row, right? What is row? Row is data 4. You understand? This is what we have in this. Is what you see here. So basically what we did was just, instead of wanting to change this all the time, we just put it this way. So what if the following day we want to try again, we have to copy the whole of this, okay? We want to change the threshold and then write this, say threshold to 21, and then we run this, right? But it would have been very easy if we just call the function and just change this 21. That's all. Instead of writing all this code, we just write this one line, we are done. Similarly, what if we want to write for day 3? All right, when is day 3? Let me see, day 3 is 0, 1, 2. Okay, so what do we have to do? We have to repeat this whole thing here. Okay, and then change this to day 2. Then we run, right? But with this, all we had to do was just run this day 2 or day 2. Sorry, day 3. You said 0. So basically, we just put this inside the function. That's all. Is it clear? Are there any questions? If you have any questions, ask them, okay? So I can help you out. So I want to see in the chat, are you clear or not? I just want to see a yes or no. How many yeses we have and how many no's we have. Okay, pump is clear. There are 25 of us in the class. I want to hear other people. Is it clear or not? Just a yes or no is fine. I just want to see how many people get it to this point. AJ says no. Peter says yes. Okay. Emmanuel, yes. I want to hear it from everybody this time around. Just a yes and no. So I want to know the number of people that get it to this point. Yes. Okay. Yes. Just a yes or no is fine. Great. 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 Yes. 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 Awesome. So to this point, it's the majority. But please, what does threshold value represent? Yeah, I'll talk about that. Okay, so let's start with AJ. AJ, you had a question. You don't get it. So can you tell me what exactly your challenge is? AJ, if you can hear me. Or mute and let's have a conversation. I want to understand what your challenge is. AJ, are you there? I can only help you if I know what your challenge is. Okay. Onel, let me hear you.
All right.
Onel, are you good? So let me hear what's your challenge. Yes.
So let's go to the question. Let me ask the
Okay, this is
first
the
time.
question.
So let me see if I understand you well. We've imported, this is the question, we imported the question, and the question was demanding for us to print something in a with a threshold and within a certain row, right? So for the first part, there's the function 5. I understand, but the answers, how you are changing the, how do I say it? I think it's down there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this one. The 6, 6, 7, 6, 12, 14. I don't really get it.
Okay. That is good. So what do we see here? This is the name of the function, right?
Yeah.
With me, yes. And these are the input values it takes, right? Right? Are you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Good. So they are saying row is a one-dimensional NumPy array. So if we had done something like this, which we didn't do because I'm feeling lazy to type, we would have just done this. This is what exactly the function is doing. Okay. This is too long, so I can bring it to the next line. So basically, this is a function that takes one row. Okay. The row is what? A one-dimensional NumPy array. So now if I come here and I say input parameters, that's right. Row here. Okay. Sorry. Oh, row here would be this. Okay. And threshold here. would be what? This. And then this would be that. That's basically what the question is asking you. That's all. So the question is they're asking us to create a function that takes a one-dimensional array. So row here is a one-dimensional NumPy array, okay? And this is a threshold value, which you put in there. So basically what the threshold value is, that is where you are going to compare whether it is greater than or less than, okay? So this value here is that threshold, okay? For this example, right? So what we do is if you put 25 here, now this is no longer, even though you see threshold here, this is 25. If you put a row here, even though we see row here, we know that this is containing some information. So when I call this function, whatever I put here now represents row. Whatever I put here represents threshold, okay? So now what we are doing here is, this is just printing out the values that you want, okay? But we can choose to just ignore it. So now let me come here, let me call this function. Okay, so with this function, now let me get help so I can use the help to make it even more better. With the help, we can see what is happening. Yeah, Polampo, I'll come to you in a bit. Oh, I should run it first. So this is what we did. Okay, I just want to use this because I need this information. That's why I did that. So what do we see here? This here, okay, is the same as the function that we did. Nothing has changed, okay? Same thing. Now, this row here, we are saying assign this information, this list to row, okay? And assign this value to threshold, okay? So now what is happening is, inside this function, this row now becomes this row that we assigned, okay? And this threshold that we see here, this threshold here, which we are using here, now becomes the threshold that we have here, okay? Just like we did here. You see we have, is this one, yeah, this, yeah. You see we have row, which is data, the fourth, row, sorry, the fifth row in the data set. And we have a threshold of 25 here. That's exactly what we did here. So now we replaced this row with, we assign this row to this data, which is a row, and we assign this threshold. So what it does is it will run this and give us the results that we are looking for, which is 3. Is it, Onel, is it clear now?
Yeah, it's clear now. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, Pulampo, your hand was up.
Yeah, now I wanted to clarify whether the understanding I'm getting is what we're talking about. So the threshold here is the individual temperature values in each day. So if we are comparing, we say the threshold is 25. It means that in day 4, any of the temperature there that is greater than the number of temperatures there that are greater than 25 become the number of threshold is on value there.
There is a yes and there's a no there. It doesn't become the number there. So here's the thing. For example, like what I did, pass and failed, right? You remember with the students, if you are beyond 50, you have passed. If you are below
Yes.
50, you have failed. Good. It's the same thing. This one is saying that we want to check the day, okay? We are assuming that 25 degrees is hot. Okay, so we want to know how many times the weather got very hot. Maybe when it gets too hot, people dehydrate and it causes there could be some explanation behind it, which we don't know. But they are saying that, oh, if the temperature is beyond 25, or let's say you are cooking or you are performing an experiment, yes. And if the temperature goes beyond 25, the solution that you are making becomes a problem. It's no longer viable, okay, or maybe something, right? So you are checking in the day the number of times the temperature of the solution went beyond 25. Okay. If you check and you realize that, oh, it went beyond 25 3 times, then it means that the solution you did for every hour, 3 of them are no longer viable because the temperature went beyond 25. You get the difference?
Yes, okay.
So the threshold is just the demarcation where you either choose or you don't choose.
So here we have 26.5, 27.1, and then 25.4.
Yes. So those are the temperatures that went beyond 25 degrees.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
we have 3 temperatures that went beyond that.
Okay.
So this one did not say, give me those temperatures. It said, how many times?
How many?
Yes. So that's why we have 3. So you notice
Okay.
that when we bring the temperature down to 21, okay, you notice that the temperature went beyond this 7 times here. So if you look at this, the fourth one, the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one is 1. This one is 2 because it's more than 21, right?
Yes.
3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. This is the only one that is below. That is why you have 7 times. So depending on the threshold value you set, it will it will segregate the information you have for you. Yes, so that's what the threshold does.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Good. So let's solve. Are there any questions before we solve the next one? I really want to take my time so that at the end of the class, we would all go home with something. So don't be shy or anything if you have a challenge. Just voice it out. Good. So now we're going to do another interesting one. So this one says that create a function and say classify day rows, okay? Write a function classify day that takes one row and returns a string. So very hot if the maximum temperature in the row is greater than 26. Hot if maximum is between 23 and 26. Warm if that and that. So now I'm going to use the same for loop. So this is what is going to run for us. Day 1, day 2, all right? So let's do this. Let's copy this. And then go back into our code. And then we write this, but like we always do, we change it to a markdown so that we don't have to do anything. Or let me see what happens. Raw is not going to change. Let me see what happens when we work with raw. Yeah, raw doesn't change, so we just need the markdown. Good. So we run this. Oh, okay. So we have this. Okay. It says write a function that classifies the. I want to bring it to the next. I want to keep it at the next line. Let me see. How do we go about it? Let's go to Google, find out. If you don't know something, it's all right. You run this here. Google will give you the answers you want. So how do you create that? So you bring break here to create that. or you bring a slash, whichever one. So perfect. That's beautifully for us. This is what we are looking for. Okay, good. So now we come here. It says write a function classify day. Oh, well, this should have been here, I think. Yep. This is on the same line like that. Yeah. And this is the right. Yep. This is the right thing. Good. So classify day. There should be, yeah, there should be an underscore here. Yeah. Good. So let's quickly call this function. Quickly, because our time is almost up. I want to quickly do this. And then we have to define the function. All right. So this function classifies the temperature. So basically what we are going to do is it will check the highest temperature, okay? So then what we do is I don't think we even need a for loop. Okay, we need a for loop. Do you need a for loop or not? We don't need a for loop. We just want to check if the temperature in that. So we check if row dot maximum, right? Remember that. We want to get the maximum value in the row. That's what it says. Write a function that takes one row and returns a string. If the maximum temperature in the row, so we are looking at maximum, okay? So you're saying if maximum is greater than or equal to 26, right? 26.0, what do we return? 26.0. I forgot to bring the colon. Yeah. It says, write very hot. Print very hot. Right? The next one is elif, the same one. Row, it checks if the maximum temperature is between this. So then what we do is we would say, because we already said we already have greater than here, then it means that anything should be less, all right? So we just don't have to do this. We just bring this one. So we say it's greater than or equal to 23.0. Just like we did when we said 90 plus is what? Excellent. 80 plus. So that's 80 to 89 is what? Very good in that order. When we did the other one, it's similar. We are doing something similar here. We print hot. Print hot. Again, row dot max, right? Is greater than or equal to 20. We do what? We print what? Warm. No, let's not print. We will need it. Let's return a value instead, okay? So let's say let's call it weather or temperature. What do we call it? Temp, weather, whatever. So let's call it I want a word that defines the the temperature of the, let's just use temperature. Yeah. Someone is giving me a word. Weather condition. Okay, we can use weather condition. It's fine, we can use it. It's variable name is up to you, what you understand. So you can just put weather and then you put underscore here. So we just say weather condition is equal to hot. All right. Subsequently, we do the same thing for all of them. And then finally, anything below that is what? Else, we see weather condition is what? Cool. Sorry, cool. Okay. So we've defined this function. Very simple. Okay. It picks a row and then it does this. Okay. So now what we want to do is the question wants us to, where is the question? So now we use a loop to classify each day, and then we print each day. This is giving us temperature range. This is not right. I think I think we would have to. I have to correct this. This is not right. This is not what I want to do. I want you to print the day one is very hot. Day two is cold. No, something like that. In that order. All right. So let's do this. Let me quickly get to that. So now we want to print day one was very hot. Day two, that. So what do? We can start with a value, then we call it day. We say day is equal to 1. Okay, then we start our for loop, 4. Right? We can't use day here because we want to use day within this. So for, let's say, let's use count. So we say for day in this data. For day in data, right? There's a comment in the chat. Yeah, day count or whatever. Yes, that's a very good one. Very good, very good. So I feel that, you know, at least now we understand to some extent. Good. So for day count, right? Day, we run this. Okay, we run this function, and then call it temp is equal to, we save it into a certain value. Okay, sorry, this one we have to return something. Forgive me, we didn't return anything. Return what? Weather condition. Right? We run this. If we use weather condition here, there's something that I forgot to mention. Like variables, right? They are global and local. Okay. So global variables are the ones that you assign outside of a function. They can be used anywhere, right? And local variables are the ones that are within this function. So even if I initialize a variable here, I can't find it outside because it is within this function. But anyone you assign outside is not this thing. Doesn't count. It's a global one. Okay, so that's the difference. Now, with this, we put together our function and call this function. What does this function take? It's a row. And here our row is what? The D. Okay. Then now what do we print? Print into brackets day let me start using this print formatting. Okay, you let me know to use print formatting for now, so we don't get too confused. All right, so let's do it this way: day, and then we print out day count. Then we print out. Our time is almost up. Give me 5 more minutes, please. Let me quickly get this sorted. All right. I hope you don't mind. 5 more minutes. Okay. Then we print this. and say, okay, let's use was because it's past tense. It's past, right? Then now we bring the temperature. So this temp is this weather condition here. So when we run this, let me see, we run this, and now we have to update our day count so that we can always have a new number. After every day, it increases by 1. So after every day, add 1 to it. Now I run this. You see? So day 1 was hot, day 2 was hot, day 3 was hot, day 4 was very hot, day 5 was very hot as well. So if the maximum is 26, it says very hot, okay? If the maximum is between 23 less than 26, right? So if it's greater than 26, it is very hot. So let's check here. Day 1 was what? Hot. So we can see that the maximum here is not more than 26. All the way to here. Here we can see that there's a 26 here. So then it means that that day was very hot. Similarly, we can see 26, you can see even 27. So it means that it was very hot on that day. So you can see that these two, day 5 and day 4, are showing that they are very hot. And these other days, even though they are not, the days, the temperature was not up to 26, it was not less than 23 because we have 23.9. So this is greater than 23. Okay. Here, similarly, let's check. We have 24, which is greater than 23. Similarly, let's check here. We have 24, we have 23.8. So which is greater than what? 23. So we have it this way. So all of these fall under this condition. Then we are good. I hope it is clear to this point. Are there any questions? Any questions? I will share this with the class. Any questions? Before I end for the day. Yes, you can use it, Emmanuel. Yes, you can use it. You can use it. You can use it. So for that one, let me write it here for you quickly. You can use the same thing, right? So you can use then you don't need the count. So you do for I in range len. Oh. Right. So now this one will be data into bracket I. Right. Then we don't need this. And this now becomes our I. Okay. You run this. Same thing. You see, if you use this one, it gives you more flexibility as well. For me, this is what I have known for a very long time until they made changes, they updated and all these things. But they all have their weaknesses and their strengths depending on what you are doing. So that, like I said, there is no one way of doing anything in programming. There are several ways you can do it. Yeah. So are there any other questions before we end for the day? Any questions? Peters, any questions? Any questions before we go? Abdul, Abigail, AJ, Apple, Augustine, Elon Prosper, Elon, Emmanuel, Eric. Any questions? It's just a yes or no in the chat, okay? So I know that I'm not talking to myself. Quickly, no questions. Yes, awesome. All right. So then on this note, I would end the class for today. I will share the notebook in the class. so you all have a look at it. And if there are any questions, we'll solve it. So tomorrow we are going to start working on plotting. So I'll leave you a comment on how to install Matplot library. The way we install NumPy, we need Matplot library to work on plotting. So we will need it for tomorrow's class. Okay. So let me just share the information now on in the class. Let me share the information now. So let me go. Where is the Python code? Where is it? Let me get my chat. Give me a moment. Okay, so next up, 2026. Okay, so which notebooks did you work on today? We did part 2, and then we did something else. Review, yes, these ones. So I shared them on the page now. All right. So where is am I sharing my screen? Where is the stuff? I don't know. Yeah, good. All right. So the class will come to an end for today. See you tomorrow. I'll share the command for installing the what do you call it? The Matplot library that we need for tomorrow's class. Remember to install it today so that tomorrow you don't waste time trying to install, because it might take Matplot is heavy, so it might take time. All right. So see you all tomorrow. Okay. Bye bye.